So this was my first year of being features editor at Church Times. So we're just going to look through some of the highlights of the year from this section of the paper. We started off the year by looking at young people in the church, specifically people 11 to 18, which is something that I'd wanted us to look at for quite a long time. We knew for some earlier research that one of the reasons for the decline numerically in the Church of England is the failure to retain teenagers and young adults. And also the fact that many people's sort of religious identity is in place by their early 20s. So if they're not going to church at that point, it's quite unlikely that they'll start. So we really wanted to dig in, first of all, to some of the statistics and then look at some of the sort of historical, theological, sociological questions that raised. And we started off with this piece by David Boas, who is Head of Social Sciences at UCL. And he really just crunched the numbers for us, I guess, and wrote this piece called A Lost Generation, which was a really great kind of kicker for the rest of the month-long season, where we asked a range of people to talk about some of the reasons for that lost generation and propose some solutions. Another series that we did was The Religious Life. We wanted to look at, I guess, vocations to traditional religious orders and also some of the new ways in which people are interpreting the religious life, including the community at St Anselm and other sort of forms of new monasticism. And I was really pleased to run this first-person account by the brother of somebody who entered a convent and some of the conflicting emotions that brought about, which I thought was a really interesting perspective, and something that we are perhaps doing more at Church Times is running these quite personal first-person reflections. It's something which a lot of American religious journalism tends to draw on, things like Christian Sanctuary, Christianity Today, and I think there is an important place for that sort of testimony within the paper. We also did a couple of issues which were sort of devoted to one big issue. So in September we did our Brexit issue, which was really the brainwave of our editor Paul, but we felt that it was, I guess, dominating so much of the nation's life and its news, and we wanted to cast a theological light on it, ask people within the church to reflect on what the debate said about our country, and suggest some ways forward. So we had a real range of commentators, I guess, kind of drawing on ideas about the future for Britain and the way in which this debate was shaping our country. So that was a huge issue to put together, but we had some very good feedback from people who felt that there was a place for the church to provide commentary on Brexit, giving space to both sides of the argument, but that it wasn't something that we should avoid. And then finally, we had our climate change issue. We were very lucky to have Richard Black, who's a former BBC correspondent, co-editing it with us, suggesting contributors and issues that we should cover. This was coinciding with a big report that came from the UN, which basically confirmed some of the predictions around climate change and its likely impacts. And we had a range of pieces from scientists, theologians, politicians, I guess, reflecting on climate change. And I think what we wanted to do was have something which didn't shy away from the reality of climate change, but suggested ways in which we could be hopeful and ways in which we could make a difference. I guess not avoiding the reality of climate change and really digging into the science for our readers, but pointing to solutions and suggesting that it's not too late to turn things around, which was very much Richard's perspective. And I was really pleased with our front cover as well, who were two Indian school children who USPG had come across, who were part of a kind of green schools, green churches initiative. And I guess just a reminder that many people on the front line of climate change are Anglicans in the global south and in other parts of the world, and really trying to connect our readers to people on the front line.